Welcome to Eurosport's coverage of the 11th Pharaohs Rally, the Round Egypt Rally that took place during the month of October. Here we see the scene in Alexandria where the 59 bikes, 62 cars and 6 trucks of the rally are arriving in the Egyptian port, having left Nice. Though a long way ahead, 4,671 kilometers around Egypt, 80% of it special stages, 20% of it liaison stages in what has become basically a complimentary rally to the Paris, Cape Town, or as it's going to be next year, back to Paris-Dakar. So here is the scene of these trucks supporting the cars and bikes on the rally, just as we see on the other events. The rally sponsored by Egypt Air, loading up to go across the Mediterranean to Egypt, a country now of 58 million people, an Islamic Republic, the most densely populated of all Arab countries. And as we said, this is the 11th running of the Pharaohs Rally. This is Mark Cole bringing this coverage today on Eurosport. I've been on the rally several times, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens in this 1992 edition. Looking at some of the bikes, Alessandro De Petri there of Yamaha, 3 times winner of the event. All these bikes prepared for the desert. Franco Pico of Italy, his Schleser. Danny Laporte there, the American rider for Cagiva. Looking at some of the other entries, Nissan of Salvador Servia, Said Al-Hajri, the many times Middle East Rally champion who's driving the Rothmans Mitsubishi. And on arrival in Alexandria, the bikes all get together on the liaison down to Cairo. It's a 220-kilometer section on the desert highway. This is just about the only dual carriageway road in Egypt, and they're taking full advantage of it. There is the Rothmans Mitsubishi of Said Al-Hajri and Britain's Mike Corner, a man we're going to be looking at today. Entries ranging from Mitsubishis through Nissans, through Mercedes, and of course the incredible Buggy Schlesser originals of Jean-Louis Schleser. Here is the view most familiar in all Egypt perhaps, the Great Pyramid of Cheops at Giza on the edge of Cairo, where the rally proper is starting from and finishing. This is the Great Pyramid, one you can actually go inside. Our helicopter doing the most to try and get inside it. And there beyond is Cairo.
Last year I started the same. I think this year I'm not going to try to start too fast, just take my time because it's a long race. And but De Petri knows the first stage very well because this year it's similar when it leaves Cairo and comes back. So I have to stay close to De Petri because he knows it so well. And if I can get after the first day, I'm close with De Petri, then it's okay.
Rally, it's a very long rally. It's not easy, very difficult race. You need a lot hard work, you know. It's not easy race to do it and win it, and we have to be careful, plus we have to be quick a little bit, and we see, you know, after 3-4 days which will go in.
So here is the scene at Giza on the edge of Cairo, where the rally is about to set away. Hot air balloons, helicopters, everything here. And first off, immediately, Danny Laporte on that Cagiva. Laporte, the 1991 winner of the Pharaohs Rally. We saw a lot of him in action on the Paris-Le Cap coverage last January on Eurosport. He's 36 years old, from Los Angeles, now lives in Monaco. Alessandro De Petri of Italy on the Yamaha. He has won this event 87, 89 and 93 times. He's a 37-year-old dentist from Bergamo. Number 3 there, Franco Pico of Italy. Schleser, number 4, Marc Morales of France on the Cagiva. That's the 900 Cagiva. And here's the terrain they're facing already, even as they leave the pyramids, heading out on the first of these short stages today, which goes out to the dunes of Gurd Abu Muarik. Following Laporte on the Stalaven Cagiva 900cc. This man was the 1982 World 250 motocross champion. Franco Pico on the number 3 bike there. Pico we saw also on the Paris-Le-Cap. Angelo Cavandoli there of Italy on the Yamaha number 5. And there is a fall. That is the first man to fall. It is Cavandoli, and he breaks his collarbone on the first day. He is out of the rally. What a disaster. Only just started, and he's out within a few minutes of the off. We immediately pick up number 4, Marc Morales. He's 33, he's from France. He's on the Stuyven Cagiva 900. And this is Said Al-Hajri in the Rothmans Mitsubishi Pajero, sister car to the car of Hubert Oil that won the Paris-Le-Cap this year. Said Al-Hajri, the most experienced probably of all the Desert Raiders. He won the Pharaohs in 1985, but first let's have a look at the Nissan here. 202, this is the Nissan Terrano of Salvador Servia of Spain, the man who also did so well on the Paris-Le-Cap this year. We seem to have him on our screens every single night, performing miracles. This is the Spanish entered Nissan from Nissan Iberica. And just look at this. This is the double world sports car champion, Jean-Louis Schleser. He won for Mercedes in 89 and 90, the World Sports Car Championship. He's now become a desert raider. He won the Baja Portugal Rally this year. And here he is, heading off, driving solo in his Schlesser original. It's a Porsche Carrera engine in there. And just look at the speed. Only two-wheel drive, rear engine. So soft sand is a problem for him, but the other sections are blindingly fast for Jean-Louis Schlesser in his solo buggy. .209 is Francesco Germanetti of Italy in the Mercedes 600 TE. Beautifully prepared Mercedes. And there are the results of the first stage. Marc Morales from Frank Pico, from Danny Laporte on the first day. Cagiva, Gilera, Cagiva. When they arrive at Saqqara, where the step pyramids are. And Schlesser wins that first stage from Germanetti from Schomar. Quite a short stage, just 18.5 kilometers down to Saqqara. And immediately we're into the second day. This is the Camion Ballet, the broom truck which closes the rally, helps pick up all the participants who've broken down. If you have bikes that are broken down, they sling them in the back. If it's a vehicle like here, then you tow them in. And the Toyota's out very, very early on. Helping other people. Look at that broken back axle on a bike there. The number 20 Yamaha. And again, big problems here. One of the trucks heavily stuck there. The Ballestas truck. I'm sure he's going to get out there. The broom truck ready to tow him out of this very deep sand hole he's got himself into. Here's the map of Egypt. There is Cairo. That is the first stage we've seen already. This is the second stage, which is down to Dunes Good, Abu Malik, 366 kilometers. And this is the terrain they are now attacking here, heading out towards the western desert of Egypt. Number 1, immediately we pick up Danny Laporte. Sorry, that is not number 1, that is number 2, Alessandro De Petri. Riding into the canyons. There is Danny Laporte just ahead of him. So Pico, Laporte, Morales. Beautiful shots here. That is Morales on the Cagiva. Soft sand, very, very tricky for these bikes, and there patches of green as they pass by oases on this route. Going for a water splash. Not a lot of water out here in the western side of Egypt, but there it is. Ready to catch you unwary. You have to take it easy, else you could drown the engine. Going through the water splash, Laporte number 1, Morales number 4, Pico number 3, De Petri number 2. And this waterfall area known as the Magic Cascades. This is where there's 2 lakes, one a salt lake, the other a freshwater lake. They join together and form this wonderful waterfalls, which after 1.5 days of rallying, everyone is just so keen to get into a quick impromptu shower. There's the showers. No time for the bikers at the moment though. It's salt water, fresh water combining there at the Magic Cascade. Although this is October, the temperature's as high as 100 degrees already here in the western desert of Egypt. Desert, incidentally, that in a couple of weeks' time from when the rally passed through was going to be seeing the celebrations, the memories of El Alamein 50 years previously. The great tank battle in the western desert between the British and the Germans. But this is the battle now in 1992. This man, Jean-Louis Schlesser, leading at the moment the 11th Pharaohs Rally in his incredible mono buggy, Porsche engine. No problems with the damp from him, well waterproofed, although it's not something many people would think of probably in the sands of Egypt. There is Said Al-Hajri and Mike Corner. Al-Hajri, as we were saying earlier, one of the most impressive of all the Gulf drivers. 15 international victories, Gulf champion 82, 83, 84, Middle East champion 83, 84 and 85, and still the only Arab driver to have won a rally outside the Middle East. He won the Cork International Rally in October 1989, and he's so determined now to repeat his 1985 success here on the Pharaohs Rally. He was driving Rothman's Porsche at that time, the first rally won by the 911 four-wheel drive. Schleser going hard at it. He won the Portuguese Baja Rally this year. He was third on the Atlas Rally, and now he's going all out for victory on the Pharaohs. On the bikes, Alessandro De Petri still leading for Yamaha from Danny Laporte. Laporte, who won last year, saying when he started yesterday, I'm not going flat out this year, I'm just going to follow because it's a breaker. Schlesser still leading, driving single-handed from Said Al-Hajri and Mike Corner. Maurice Schumann in the 2-seater Schlesser buggy. Giacomo Vismara, who's also driving solo. He was involved in a very bad crash on the Paris-Peking. His co-driver Andrea Fogar was paralysed, and he is now driving solo. So there's the overall standings: De Petri, Laporte, Medado, Schlesser, Al-Hajri, Chomat, Vismara, and Miguel Prieto down there for Nissan, the 1986 winner. Please rejoin us after the break. You rejoin us on Eurosport for our coverage of the Rothmans Pharaohs Rally, where we're looking at the Rothmans Mitsubishis at the moment, trying to catch up Jean-Louis Schlesser. And here, looking at the bikes for a moment, Marc Morales of France in the Cagiva, powering over the special stages of the third day of the rally. This is on the way to Farafra. Number 1, Danny Laporte of the USA, riding that Cagiva. Still trailing De Petri, not wanting to push too hard. This is De Petri out front at the moment on the Yamaha, 3 times a winner. And this, would you believe, is a human skull. Whether it's pharaonic or whether it's more modern, we don't know. But this stage is known as the Mysteries of the Skeleton stage. So Morales today is going to be the winner of the bike stage, although he does have a crash. And this man, Jean-Louis Schlesser, wins the stage despite having a puncture. Still driving solo, Jean-Louis Schlesser, double world sports car champion, and now aiming to be a rally raid marathon champion. We saw him attempt to drive single-handed from Paris to Cape Town in January, but this not quite so far. We're looking at the difference between 4,600 kilometers and the 14,000 plus kilometers of the Paris-Cape Town. Here in the distance, Said Al-Hajri with Mike Corner in that Rothmans Mitsubishi, the car prepared by Ulrich Bremer's team. 320 horsepower, four-wheel drive. Most impressive, this car. Mike Corner, his co-driver, very well known in British rallying. He won the 1990 British National Rally Championship for Mazda with John Weatherly, but he's been with Nissan ever since. And in fact, he won the Audi Sport International Rally with David Llewellyn in 1990. So 208, we're looking at Thierry Delaverne. Delaverne there in the Range Rover. 209 here. This is Francesco Giamanetti of Italy in that beautiful Mercedes 600T again. They've grafted the front of a Mercedes saloon onto the Geländewagen. And there, after that stage, are the up-to-date points. Morales, having won the third stage, Gerd to Abu to Farafra, from Laporte, from Medado. And the cars, Schlesser winning again from Al-Hajri and Thierry Delaverne in the Range Rover. Giamanetti fourth in the Mercedes, Vismara single-handed in the Range Rover, fifth. And just coming onto the scene there is Raymond Dalmau of Spain in a Mercedes 300. So overall, these are the positions after 3 days of raiding, 11 in all. So there's another 8 to go. De Petri from Laporte and Schlesser from Al-Hajri in the car section. 24 minutes in hand. Vismara 1 hour 11:22. Giamanetti 1 hour 11:55. Very close there for third place at the moment. So here's the briefing. Every afternoon before dinner, organizer Fanui briefs all the drivers. He gives out the official classifications first, and then afterwards he explains what tomorrow's stages are going to be like. He's already done his recces, found out what the most difficult points are and where the drivers must be careful, because above all they want nobody hurt. They want everyone to get safely into camp every night. Everyone obviously very interested in what he's saying. It's one way of holding the intention. So navigators making notes, drivers listening carefully to what's happening, enjoying luxury of a Bedouin tent. There is Schleser. Pico enjoying an Egyptian sandwich. And of course the most important announcement of the day is it's time for supper. Map for the fourth stage, Farafra to Farafra. This is a loop out onto the border of Libya. They mustn't go into Libya, of course. But very, very hard. It's called the Treasure of the Cambere's King, this stage, and it's the stage of big dunes. Navigation, all important here. Satellite navigation coming into play. And immediately the winner today is Alessandro De Petri, taking 20 minutes off his rivals to further consolidate his lead of the Pharaohs Rally. Danny Laporte there passing through in the Cagiva, still second. Luigi Medado of Italy, another man we saw on the Paris Cape Town on his Gelera, heading through these great big dunes and past the rocky outcrops on their way towards Libya. They will, however, be turning back midday and coming back to the oasis of Farafra. Mark Morales again on the Cagiva from our helicopter. We see problems there for Laporte. This is Danny Laporte. He's stopped out in these mindless wastes of sand. So the American stopped at the moment. He has got problems, fuel pump problems, and he is going to finish today in 23rd position, losing 3 hours. So Laporte out of the running. De Petri now firmly in the lead of the race. Going past and not stopping because there's no time. Said Al-Hajri, he wins the car stage today, and he takes over the lead of the Pharaohs because Jean-Louis Schlesser, leader of the last 3 days, has had problems in the dunes. He's got his buggy stuck. It's only 2-wheel drive. And just look at the landscape here. Schlesser taking a gamble on 2-wheel drive because, as we said, it's incredibly fast on the harder sections, but in the dunes, only 2-wheel drive is no help at all. Giacomo Vismara in the Range Rover, still driving by himself. Germanetti in 209 there, Franco Germanetti, Mercedes 600 TE, 208 De La Verne. Thierry De La Verne in the Range Rover. Range Rover is always a very popular choice on the Pharaohs Rally. And here comes the Nissan. This is Servier, Salvador Servier. Nissan Torano. So they lose little time. They're all using their navigation to full effect, satellite navigation, and they don't lose too much time to Al-Hajri. De Petri now well in the lead because Danny Laporte is out of the top 6 today. And in fact out of the top 6 overall. So Al-Hajri now takes over the lead from Schlesser. Schlesser was stuck not only because he was stuck in the sand, but also he had oil pump problems which slowed him with the Porsche. So we see Laporte has completely gone from the top 6. De Petri now has a 26-minute lead over Marc Morales and 27-minute lead over Franco Pico. Said Al-Hajri firmly in the lead of the rally from Schlesser, 56 minutes behind. Giacomo Vismara third, an hour behind. Please rejoin us after this short break. Welcome back to Eurosport and our look at the Pharaohs Rally of Egypt, which took place over the last 2 weeks of October. Following the raiders through some of these very tricky situations. Petri, Morales, Pico, Laporte, following all of them, but the American Laporte on the #1 bike, given in honor of his win last year on the Pharaohs Rally, wins the stage, but of course he's way out of the overall classification, leaving Alessandro De Petri to lead the event. This is Franco Pico for Gilera. There is Laporte. Although he comes from Los Angeles, he actually lives in Monaco now. He's married to a French girl as they go past one of the old abandoned forts way out here in the Western Desert. This is day 5 we're looking at. This is going towards El Kaga, 487 kilometers. And 205 there, Giacomo Vismara of Italy in that chopped Range Rover. He wins the stage today and becomes the new car leader. Still driving alone, so Schlesser originally leading in the buggy, driving solo, but now Vismara takes over. Why, we ask? There's a problem first for Schlesser, who's stuck deep in the sand, has problems getting help from his teammates Maurice Chaumart in the 2-seater buggy, and also from Yves Tartaran's Toyota, who is his chase car, helping the 2 buggies. So big problems for Schlesser. This is just what he feared would happen. Trying to wind the tow rope round his axle. And this man, De La Verne, in the 208 Range Rover, he finishes 4th today. Germanetti in the Mercedes is third. Mercedes absolutely flying across the desert wastes as they head towards Al-Hajri. And then this man, Eddie Orioli of Italy, second on the stage. Orioli, a former Paris-Dakar bike winner. This is his first ever experience on four wheels. So Laporte wins the stage from Morales, and Wismar wins from Orioli. Schleser stuck in the sand. Where, you are asking, is Al-Hajri? Al-Hajri has had 4 punctures and has dropped right out of the running because he ran out of spare tires. He will lose 11 hours by the time they get into El-Hajri tonight. Also Salvador Servia in the Nissan, he's blown his engine and he is out. So the whole complex of the rally changes. 205 passing by there, Giacomo Wismara. Powering on. Out across the wastes. Absolutely featureless waste. They're having to do all their navigation by satellite. This is the GPS, Geographic Position Satellite, the machine that's more commonly used in air travel. But over the last 3 or 4 years, it's become more and more popular. It gives the drivers in desert races a chance to find the correct path. It gives you 3 reference points. It then plots your exact position.
All the racers are using GPS systems. And the reason we use GPS systems are for 2 reasons. One, to find your exact point that you have to go to. And it makes racing a lot faster because instead of following the road book, you can put your point and you go directly to it as fast as you can. And maybe you have 10 points during the day, so you go to the first point, the next point, the next point, and you find yourself around the course. The other thing that what makes the GPS so good is that if you're lost, it can tell you exactly where you are and where you have to go to the CP or to the finish. And when you're riding in the desert, it's so much better to know that you know exactly where you have to go. And it tells you you have to go 1 kilometer to the right or 1 kilometer to the left. So it keeps you right on line.
So Danny Laporte explaining how SatNav works. From El-Hajri on day 6, El-Hajri, the oasis, they now head for the furthest southern point of the rally, down to Abu Simbel. Abu Simbel, which is on Lake Nasser, it's the world's biggest man-made lake, and there are the 3,500 years old temples of Ramesses II, lifted out of the water by UNESCO in 1966 after a world appeal. Look at this terrain, sand, fesh, rock and dust all the way through now. Still in the southern part of the Libyan desert, racing through southern Egypt. De Petri keeps the lead, he's in front of Franco Pico and this man, Marc Morales. Morales and Laporte lose more time today. This is Pico just getting his control fixed. One of the rescue helicopters sitting at the side there, just in case, you never know. Franco Pico racing off into the desert, still following him. Experienced raider, Paris-Dakar winner, Paris-Le Cape Town runner. And this is the sort of terrain that causes those punctures, as we see Francesco Germanetti coming through. Because Wismara has lost time. Eddie Orioli coming through in the 216 Mercedes, and he wins the special stage, his first victory in 4-wheel drive. Here are the temples at Abu Simbel, Ramesses temples. And there are the results today of the stage. Franco Pico from Alessandro De Petri, from Antonio Mazzali in Honda. First time we've seen Honda. And fourth there, Raid Badir, who is the Egyptian rider on the Honda. Eddie Orioli, Maurice Schumacher from Jean-Louis Schlesser. Schleser still fast, but still stuck in this deep sand, bogged down by it quite a lot. Overall, De Petri from Pico from Morales. Laporte now back up to 5th place. What a good effort by that man Laporte, but he's 5 hours down. And just look at the spread in the top 6 there of the bike. 7 hours covering the top 6. Germanetti, the new leader of the rally from Schlesser, from De Laverne, from Maurice Chaumat. So Germanetti now controlling the rally, but Schlesser 25 minutes behind, although he's still finding it heavy going in that sand. They're at Abu Simbel. That's the classifications after the 6th day. This is Alessandro De Petri, the 37-year-old Italian who's been dominating the rally since the beginning. After 6 stages, his only real enemy is Franco Piro. De Petri is known as Ciro worldwide in his Yamaha, once again showing that he has one of the best teams in the desert. De Petri has never won the Paris-Dakar, but he's won the Tunis Rally twice, and he's had 3 victories on the Pharaohs, 87, 89 and 90. At the moment, pushing very hard despite leading. Almost certainly now heading for that 4th victory in Egypt. So there is the map now. We're now down at the Aswan Dam, heading for Hurghada, which is the Red Sea resort on the east side of Egypt. 291-kilometer stage. So all the way out to the Red Sea, a tough day indeed. Morales on the number 4, Kajiva there. Number 26, 25 there, Chinet. Manfred Chinet, Pico number 3, passing him. We're trying to pass him. Gets by, there is Franco Pico. And Alessandro De Petri still leading overall, the Italian dentist. Broke his collarbone on the Paris Cape Town this year, so he's anxious to have a good finish. Well placed at the moment in the lead. Absolutely throwing that 850cc Yamaha at the desert. Laporte wins the stage today though, and Schlesser's pushing very hard, closing on Germanetti all the time. Looks like a grasshopper coming across the wastes of the eastern desert of Egypt, the desert that stretches from the Nile right out to the Red Sea. Hurghada, a very popular resort opposite the Sinai Peninsula. That's Porsche 911 Carrera power you can hear there. Pushing Schleser on and on. Winner of the stage today though is Vismara. Very good effort indeed by this solo driver. Vismara so anxious to make up for the problems he had on the Paris Peking, when, as we told you, his co-driver was critically injured. Range Rover pushing on hard. Delaverne, the 208 Range Rover, Thierry Delaverne, second, and Yves Tataran is third in 207. The Toyota driver who is backup crew to Jean-Louis Schlesser. But Maurice Chaumat in the second of the Schlesser buggies has to withdraw today with engine problems. Francesco Germanetti in the Mercedes, still leading. Yves Tataran of France. And there are the classifications after the Abu Simbel to Hurghada stage. Dani Laporte wins the special from Morales and Pico. In the cars, Vismara wins from Schlesser, and De La Verne, but Schlesser's second against Germanetti's fourth place, bringing him even closer to the Mercedes driver in the overall classifications. De Petri, Pico, Morales, the top three overall on the Pharaohs Rally. On the bikes and in the cars, Germanetti now just 9 minutes ahead of Schlesser, with De La Verne an hour behind. Please rejoin us on Eurosport after this short break. Welcome back to Eurosport's coverage of the 1992 Pharaohs Rally, the 11th Round Egypt Rally. Just looking at the overall positions. Hurghada, this is a big loop they did from the Red Sea Resort back again. Schlesser won it in the cars, which makes the overall positions. On the bikes, De Petri from Pico from Morales. So a swap round for second place there. And in the cars, Schlesser comes through to take the lead because it's a rocky stage, mountainous on this big loop. Schlesser had the speed. He has now made up a 9-minute deficit into a 46-minute lead. So Jean-Louis Schlesser, solo buggy, leading the Pharaohs Rally from the other solo driver, Francesco Germanetti. We have lost in the rally now Said Al-Hajri and Mike Corner in the Rothmans Mitsubishi. What a shame. They were up because of those 4 punchers and they only had 2 spares. We've lost Salvador Servier of Nissan with a blown engine. We have lost Maurice Chomat in the second of the buggies. And there's another problem here. This is Schlesser having a lot of problems keeping that Porsche engine running. The original machine was built up in Cannes, where the twice world sports car champion has his base. It first competed in the Paris Cape Town this year. Was the winner in the Portuguese Baja, made up of carbon fiber. Has a Porsche 3.6 litre engine, 285 horsepower. Also only weighs about 1,200 kilograms, which explains why he has such a speed advantage. It does get stuck a lot, and just with 2 wheels with independent drive can be an advantage. But if the buggy could win this event, Schlesser says he will prepare a new one for the next Paris-Dakar. So still one of the most bizarre sights in raid marathons, the single-seater buggy, Porsche engined of Jean-Louis Schlesser. There is the map now. We are now in Hurghada on the Red Sea. This is the point at which the rally starts to head back towards Cairo. This is the 9th stage, 385 kilometers to Asyut, which is a very pretty town on the Nile above Luxor. De Petri number 2 starts as well as usual. Not knowing at this moment that towards the end of the stage he will have a high-speed crash which will finish his rally and put him straight into the university hospital in Asyut with damaged kidneys. The disaster looming up for De Petri. Has a high-speed somersault, as you can see. Bike completely destroyed. And that lets this man, Franco Pico, in as the new leader on the number 3 750 Gilera. Camels providing an additional obstacle in the middle of the eastern desert as they race from Hurghada towards the Nile. Number 1, Danny Laporte, still making up time, the 36-year-old American, so determined to show well again here on this rally, just as he did on the Paris Cape Town this year, where he finished second. Here is Schlesser, reaping through those deep sand stages again, the ones he doesn't like. But he is definitely leader now, although Germanetti wins the stage today and closes up a little bit again. Ismar is also trying to catch him. And it's a good stage also for Raymond Dalmo. There's Vismara. That is Raymond Dalmo from Spain in the Mercedes 300. He finishes 5th today. Tataran, Schlesser's Toyota chase car driver, is 3rd. And Alexandro Chinotto in the Nissan, he is 6th. So, stage finishing on the Nile tonight at Azure. Danny Laporte winning the stage today from Franco Pico and Mark Anthony. And in the cars, Franco Germanetti putting in good performance there, and Vismara and Tartaran all ahead of Schlesser, but Schlesser content just to let the desert roll from under him now as he maintains his overall lead of the rally. Pico, the new leader in the bikes from Laporte and Mione. The German riders coming up now into the top 6. Schlesser, Germanetti, Vismara, and that 46-minute gap down to 31 now. There's still some days to go. So, Alessandro De Petri, let's have a look at his accident and what happened as a result of it. Evacuation plays a very important role. This is TMS, Transworld Medical Services, one of the essential parts of the event. Based in Paris, this organization gives assistance to the Pharaohs, has a traveling operating theater. As well as the Pharaohs and the Atlas Rally, they also help on the Trans-African Rally. 7 doctors, 1 anaesthetist and 1 surgeon on board. This is the truck prepared for emergencies. There's a helicopter assists them, and they have 5 chase cars with drivers. During this year's Pharaohs Rally, the 1992 edition, they had to carry out their operation 20 times. Always on guard, and this is the accident we see going to the help of that man. Number 5 we saw early in the race, Angelo Cavandoli, being helped by those assistance people. 10th stage in, 2 days to go. Asyut to Rayowan, up the Nile, 470 kilometers. And Mione in the number 17 bike, now 3rd in the classification on his marathon bike. Laporte on the number 1 bike wins the stage. But Franco Pico there on the number 3 Gilera still remains the leader. He and Laporte now riding together. He has 5 hours over Laporte. There's no reason for Laporte to try and race ahead. Also well classified Anthony on the 69 bike. And Chinette on the number 26 bike. Though here in the cars, Schlesser with his door open, waving to the helicopters. This man always after publicity. Close-ups of Schlesser at speed. He wins the stage today. But for this man, Giacomo Vismara can do no better than 3rd place today. Germanetti gets lost, so the path now clear for Schlesser. No sign of Germanetti at the moment. This is Eddie Orioli. But Germanetti goes 20 minutes out of his way, has to turn around, loses a lot of time. So Orioli 2nd on the stage, Vismara 3rd. There's Germanetti. Now found the right route and found our helicopter. .208 Delaverne, Terry Delaverne of France in that Range Rover, 7th today. 211 Raymond Dalmo of Spain in that Mercedes 300. He's 5th. And here's the classifications again on the penultimate day of the Pharaohs Rally. Danny Laporte for Cagiva, Franco Pico for Gilera, Franco Mioni, Yamaha in the top 3 on today's stage. Schlesser winning from Orioli and Vismara as Germanetti drops down to 4th fastest today. Overall, we see Franco Pico now well in the lead, 4 hours, 46 minutes, almost 5 hours from Danny Laporte, riding together now as they start the last day of the Pharaohs Rally, which would take them back to Cairo. Schleser now 1 hour 16 over Germanetti after Germanetti's little visit off the right way, and Vismara 3rd. So heading back to Cairo and the pyramids, let's take a quick look at Franco Pico, 36-year-old Italian. He's almost the winner now, one of the fastest riders in the desert for many years. And this Gilera has a single cylinder, so very important to beat the twin cylinder bikes on this event. For Pico, it could be his 2nd victory in the Pharaohs after his 1986 win. So Gilera and Pico will go for the Paris-Dakar after this. Still riding with his friend, that rival, Danny Laporte, over the sands. So Pico, in Italian of course, tells us, I'm very lucky and I'm very happy to be able to still be competing and trying to win these events. So there they go together, 1st and 2nd. Here's the 11th stage map. This is the final section from Raiwayan back into Cairo. They're going to finish back at the pyramids. The last day of the 1992 Pharaohs Rally. On the side of Lake Gadan. And it's a racing start. All staged. The show here. Flares burning. Just like a motocross. And of course Danny Laporte, who was the 1982 World 250 motocross champion, makes the most of the start. He, Pico and Mioni, Francesco Mioni of Italy on the Yamaha, make the most of it. 1st, 2nd and 3rd in the rally. This is quite simply a stage for show. But it's still 235 kilometers. A flat-out racing across the flat sand, no problems of dunes, no problems of rocks, all the way back to the 3 pyramids at Giza, and of course their guardian, the Sphinx. Heading into Cairo, Laporte is going to win the stage, but only just. And for number 3, Franco Pico, victory for the 2nd time. For the 4th time, I should say, on the Pharaohs Rally. Laporte looking for that 2nd victory, but denied to him after losing time earlier. And there is the finish. End of the Rally of the Pharaohs, right beside the pyramids. Just as it always has finished on the previous 10 editions. This is 11th. Henri, the organizer, congratulates Laporte on winning the stage. Pico coming in to win the rally right behind. So great victory for Gilera. Pico's 1st win, of course, not his 4th win, because it was Alessandro De Petri who won 3 times before. So 1st time for Gilera, 1st time for Pico on the Pharaohs Rally. Laporte 1 win, and Alessandro De Petri, who's now been repatriated to Italy with kidney problems, although not too serious. He had won 3 times previously, lost that lead 3 days ago. Here is Jean-Louis Schlesser, driving single-handedly 4,617 kilometers, coming up to the finish. He is going to take a historic victory. The first man to win one of the classic raids, driving single-handedly, although of course, as we told you, he did win the Portugal Baja Rally earlier this year. Just look at this scenery. This is Egypt at its best. The rally, fortunately, without too many problems of its own, although while the rally was on, they had the terrible earthquakes in Cairo with nearly 600 killed. It was decided by the organisers and the government the rally should continue. There have been other problems with tourist shootings in Luxor, which this year the rally didn't go to. And of course, the day after the rally finished, Britain's Prime Minister John Major was visiting Cairo. So Schleser wins, Germanetti second, Wismara third in the 205 car, and this man, Thierry Delaverne, fourth, with Eddie Orioli fifth overall on his first ever four-wheel drive rally raid. In comes Schlesser to the finish of the Pharaohs Rally. A historic victory. And there, under the shadow of the pyramids, finishes 26 bikes, 32 cars, and just 3 trucks. Traglio winning the truck section. There's the final results round Cairo. Stage, Laporte from Pico from Francesco Mioni, Cagiva Gilera Yamaha. And that stage, Schlesser took easily from Wismara and Orioli. And the final classification of the 11th Pharaohs Rally, Franco Pico wins for Gilera for the first time from Danny Laporte, Francesco Mioni by a massive 4 hours, 44 minutes. And in the cars, Jean-Louis Schlesser, the first ever solo car winner of the Pharaohs Rally from Germanetti and from Wismara, who of course was also driving single-handedly. So a great double. Thank you for joining Eurosport and me, Mark Cole, on our coverage of the Pharaohs Rally. We look forward to seeing you again soon.
Eurosport.